Hi everyone, it's good to have you around on Smart Lesson Nigeria online virtual lesson for today with your regular host, Mr. Otaibe. Thank you for joining. Your presence in the lesson is appreciated. The subject is English and the theme of English is vocabulary. And the topic is words associated with the family. 1. Family relationships. Words associated with the family. 1. Family relationships. So the topic is a symposium in which we are going to have subtopics, about 4 or 3 subtopics. So we are taking the first one, which is words associated with the family. 1. Family relationships. Then in the next symposium we'll be having words associated with the family. 2. Marriage terms, words that relates to marriage, and so many others that will come up afterward. And so that's it. We want to take the very first symposium, words associated with the family. 1. Family relationships. And so let's kick off right away as we engage the introduction of the lesson that will expose us to the meaning of family before we start looking at the terms associated with the family in terms of relationships that exist in the family. And so let's see the meaning of the family on the introductory slides as it comes up like this. A family is a group of persons who are related by blood or adoption. A family is a group of persons who are related by blood or adoption. That's the definition of family. Certain words are used to refer to various family relationships. Some of the words are highlighted below. So I want to look at some common words associated with family relationships so that we review the meanings of these words and thus become conversant with them. And at the end, we will now be equipped as to being able to connect them correctly in passage lessons when they are presented for us in external examinations. And so let's kick off right away as we engage the very first one, which comes up like this. We have parents. A parent is a male or a female person who has a child. A male or female person who has a child is called a parent. Then we now go to father. A man who has begotten a child, that is a male parent. And so a man who has begotten a child, that is giving birth to a child, is called a father. And so a father alternatively can be referred to as a male parent. Then mother is a woman who has begotten a child, that is a female parent. Yes, a mother is a person who has given birth, a female person, a woman that has given birth to a child, or you simply say a female parent. Then we now come to the next, husband. A married man. Husband is a married man. That is the man a woman is married to. Take note, you can be a husband, but you are not a parent. If you are married and you don't have a child, or you've not adopted a child, then you are not a parent. You are only a husband. But when you are married as a man and you've gotten a child, or you adopted a child, then you are both a husband and a parent. And so not all not all husbands are parents. Want to take note of that. Is when you are married and you've gotten a child that you be called parent. So that's that for that. Now let's make progress now to the next one, talking of a wife. Okay, a wife is a married woman. That is the woman a man is married to. Yes, it's the opposite of husband. So a woman that a husband is married to, that a man is married to, is called a wife. Then we have spouse. Spouse is a word we use for both husband or wife. Yes, a husband or a wife, that is any member or partner of a couple. Yes, when you have a husband and a wife, the husband is a spouse, then the wife is a spouse. And so the husband can refer to the wife as my spouse, then the wife can refer to the husband as my spouse. So both of them can be referred to as spouse. And so that's that for that. Then we now have brother. A male person who has both parents the same as you. Yes, a male person who has both parents. Please take note, both parents. A male person whose father and whose mother are the same as your father and your mother is your brother. But if it is only one of them that is your parent, that is a person whose father is your father but maybe mother is not, or whose mother is your mother and maybe father is not, it's either it will fall in the category of step brother or half brother. We are going to see those two terms later as we may progress. Then talking of sister, a female person who has both parents the same as you. So this is the female version. Yes, that's what we call sister. But if it's one of the parents, then it may not be sister. So it's either step sister or half sister. And so we want to make progress now to the next one. We have what we call stepfather. Okay, the man your mother is married to after her earlier marriage or relationship with your father ended. That's what we call stepfather. So stepfather is the man your mother is married to after her earlier marriage or relationship with your father ended. If it was marriage, then the marriage would have ended by divorce or death. Yes, he said that divorce or death. And then if it was relationship, then the relationship was casual and so was not formal. And so one of them decided to walk away to now settle for a formal relationship. And so whichever way the earlier relationship or marriage ended, the man your mother is now married to after that first relationship or marriage is your stepfather. Then we now have the other version of it, stepmother. The woman your father is married to after his earlier marriage or relationship with your mother ended. Yes, the woman your father is married to after your father's earlier relationship or marriage with your mother ended. And so that's what we call step mother. So then we have stepchild, a husband or wife's child by past marriage or relationship, either a stepson or a stepdaughter. So it could be male or female, in which case we say stepson or stepdaughter respectively. So take notes. We want to review some things about step so that we understand it very well. Now, when writing step in family relationship, there is no dash, there is no hyphen between the step and whatever is to come up. So if you check all of them now, we are having stepfather, one word, there is no hyphen in between the step and the father. Then stepmother, straight, no break, no hyphen. Stepchild, no hyphen. Stepson, stepdaughter, no hyphen. And so when you are writing step along with a name to form a single family relationship, we don't break it. There is no hyphen between them. So take note of that. But when you are writing half sister, half brother, then there is usually a hyphen between the half and whatever is to come up. That's the difference between half and step. Then again, when we say step is usually applicable to earlier marriage or earlier relationship that has ended. That's when we use step. Whereas half applies to another marriage or another relationship that possibly has not ended. Yes, another marriage or another relationship that is running concurrent or running side by side with the one you apply to. So that's the difference. Instead, the earlier marriage or earlier relationship has ended, whereas in half, whenever we talk of half, we're either talking of a relationship that is running side by side, is running concurrent, is running simultaneous with the one in which you are applicable. So that's the difference between step and half. So half running along, then step earlier. Want to take note of these two so that we don't miss them. And so that's that for that. Want to take note of the differences so that we always not make mistakes. So when writing then for step, there is no dash, no hyphen. Then for half, there is hyphen before the next word. Then again, step applies to earlier marriage or relationship that has ended, while half refers to another that is running along, the current one in which you are applicable. And so want to take note of that. So let's make progress now to the next one. We now come to stepbrother. Stepbrother, the son of your stepfather or stepmother, that is your brother begotten by your stepfather or stepmother in an earlier marriage. You can see that earlier is always running in step. Whenever we talk of step, earlier marriage or earlier relationship. Then we now have stepsister, the same, but it's not the female version. The daughter of your stepfather or stepmother, that is your sister begotten by your stepfather or your stepmother in an earlier marriage or relationship. So you can see the earlier running. But talking of half now, like we are going to see from number 14, there will be no earlier again, because half, we are talking of running along. Relationship that is running along, either in the form of polygamy, marrying 2 or more wives, or in the form of adultery, yes, deviating to commit immorality outside the marriage, and a child comes out of the infidelity. So that's what we are talking about. And so half is running along, while step is earlier. So we want to keep this fact so that it can always help us to differentiate them. Then what do we mean by half brother? A brother with the same father, a brother with the same father but a different mother, or the same mother but a different father. And so a brother with the same father as you, yes, a brother with the same father as you but a different mother, or the same mother as you but a different father. So you can see now this one is not talking of earlier. Yes, the two relationships are running side by side, especially in maybe polygamy. A man marries 2 wives, then your brother is one of them. So you and the brother of the second woman he is married to, that other brother will be half brother. Yes, half brother, because he's not given birth to by your mom. And it's not earlier. If it's earlier, maybe the woman was in an earlier relationship, then it will be step and not half. Want to take note of the differences. And so let's make progress now to the next one. We have a half sister, that's the female version. A sister with the same father but a different mother, or the same mother but a different father. So it's just the same thing, but this one is the female counterpart, and we want to take note of it. Then we now go to uncle, the brother of your father or mother. That's the one we are used to, the brother of your father or mother. But take note, uncle is also the husband of your aunt. Yes, the husband of your aunt is also uncle. So take note of that new development so that you can learn to apply it or feature it very well when it's featured in your examination. Then we now come to aunt, the sister of your father or mother, or the wife of your uncle. Yes, the wife of your uncle is your aunt. We're already aware, the sister of your father or mother, that one is a common knowledge. But when it comes to the wife of your uncle, we might not have come across that. So we want to take note of that now so that we archive it as well. And so uncle can be stretched further to mean the husband of your aunt, just like aunt can be stretched further to mean the wife of your uncle. And so we want to take note of that. Then we now come to cousin, a child of your uncle or aunt. Yes, a child of your uncle or aunt is your cousin, and so want to take note of that. So let's make progress now as we learn more, we review more of them. We have nephew, a son of your brother or sister. Yes, a son of your brother or your sister is your nephew. Then we have the female version and the female counterpart, a daughter of your brother or sister, a brother of your a daughter of your brother or sister. So you can see that it's the same thing. It's just that one is male, then the other one is female. We use nephew for male, then we use niece for female, and both of them have to do with the child of your brother or sister. And so that's that for that. Then we now come to guardian, one who cares for another person's child. Yes, a guardian is a person who cares for another person's child. So let's say a child, for example, an orphan who is now living with a family to end the care of the family. So the parents of that family taking care of the orphan will be the guardian. Then sometimes it doesn't mean that the person being taken care of by a guardian is usually an orphan. No, it's possible the person has parents but is not living with the parent. It's living in a distant place under the care of another parent. So those parents will be the person's guardian. And so we want to take note of that. Then we have relatives. A relative is a distant member of a family, that is a family member that is not born by your parents. Yes, a family member that is not born by your parents is a relative. Yes, is a relative. But a family member that is born of your parents is sibling, whether male or female, that's sibling. So any family member that your parents give birth to is your sibling. But a family member that your parents do not give birth to, as in distant family members, we call them relatives. And so that's that for that. Then we now go to the next one, talking of grandfather. So we want to look at some we have grandfather, grandmother, grandchild. But before we do, I want to draw your attention to something. When we are writing grand in relationship, we also don't put hyphen like in step. So it's only half that has hyphen. Then again, when pronouncing grand in relationship, ordinarily the word grand, G-R-A-N-D, is pronounced grand. But when you blend it with a family relationship, as in grand and father, you merge them, then the D will be silent in pronunciation. You will not pronounce the D along. And so what you are seeing on the screen are grandfather, not grandfather. Grandfather, you omit the D when you are pronouncing. Grandmother, not grandmother. Then grandchild, not grandchild. So when you blend a family relationship with grand to form another relationship, then the D will be silent in pronunciation. The D will only be there as decoration, but when you are pronouncing it, you omit the D in pronunciation. So we have grandfather, grandmother, grandchild, not grandfather, not grandmother, not grandchild. No, it's grandfather, grandmother, grandchild. The D is not pronounced. So we want to take note of that. Then let's review the meanings. Talking of grandfather, we mean the father of your father or mother. The father of your father or mother. Then grandmother is the mother of your father or mother. And so then grandchild, a child of your son or daughter. Yes, a child of your son or daughter. And it can take the form of grandson, that's a male, or granddaughter, that's a female. So we now come to number 26, father-in-law. The father of your husband or wife, that's father-in-law. The father of your husband or wife is father-in-law. Then mother-in-law is the mother of your husband or wife. The mother of your husband or wife is called is called mother-in-law. We call it mother-in-law. I almost said husband-in-law because I was coming to say that there is nothing like husband-in-law. Husband husband-in-law does not exist. So as at when I was thinking about it as the next thing to project as a warning for you to recognize, it jumped out of my mouth as a mistake for emphasizing mother-in-law. So there is nothing like husband-in-law. We have father-in-law, we have mother-in-law, we have brother-in-law, we have sister-in-law. These are the four we have, but there is nothing like husband-in-law. Husband-in-law does not exist. And so let's make progress now. We now come to brother-in-law. The brother of your husband or wife, the brother of your husband, any of them, any of the brothers of your husband or wife is your brother-in-law. Then we also use it for the husband of your sister. Yes, the husband of your sister is your brother-in-law. Take note. You might not have taken note of this, but take note of it now. That's second application. So it's the husband of your sister. Brother-in-law is also the husband of your sister, but the common ones we apply it for is the brother of your husband or wife. Then sister-in-law is the female version, the sister of your husband or wife, the sister of your husband or wife. Then we can also use it to mean the wife of your brother. Yes, the wife of your brother is your sister-in-law. Please take note of this second application because it's rare, it's not common, and we are being exposed to it now so that we take note of it. Then we have nuclear family, the part of a family that includes only the father, mother, and their own children. So nuclear family is a family comprising the father, the mother, and their own children. Their own children, that's their offspring. Take note, offspring refer to immediate children, self-children of parents. That's what we call offspring. We don't use offspring for maybe grandchildren or distant children. No, the immediate children of a couple, we refer to them as offspring. And so nuclear family comprises the father, the mother, and offspring, talking of the immediate children of theirs. Yes, that's what we're talking about. And so we want to take note of that. Then when you are not adding other persons in the family to now make it big, you're adding grandpa, grandma, aunt, uncle, then it changes from nuclear family to extended family. And so that's the next number 31, extended family. A family that includes not only the father, mother, and their children, but also other relatives. And so when we say other relatives, the uncle could be there, the aunt could be there, grandparents, and so many others. So that's what we mean by extended family. So a family that includes not only the father, mother, and other children, but also other relatives, such as grandparents, uncles, aunts. We refer to such family as extended family. Extended family is large. It's larger than nuclear family. Then we now go to the next one, adoptee. Adoptee. An adoptee is an adopted child. An adopted child, that is a child of other parents that has been legally taken as your own child. Yes, a child born by other parents, and a couple will now go to acquire the child legally using legal process, possibly from an orphanage or another place, and the child comes in to be their child. We call the child adoptee. Adoptee. So adoptee is an adopted child, a child you acquire legally through legal means, perhaps from an orphanage, and sometimes it comes up when the couple cannot have a child of their own, and so that's what we call adoptee. Adoptee is an adopted child. Then we have the next one, maid. A maid is a female who is not a member of a family, but who lives with the family or comes in to do house chores. That's a maid. We already know, so we'll not waste time on maid. A female who is not a member of a family, but who lives with the family or comes in to do house chores. That's what we call maids. And so let's make progress now to the next one, talking of nanny. A nanny is a woman who is paid to care for a young child, usually in the child's home. Although we can also apply it to hospital and schools. Yes, but because we are dealing with words associated with family, we are applying it to the home. So a woman who is paid to care for a young child, usually in the child, so is a nanny. Take note of the difference between nanny and maid. Maid, household chores, but nanny is concentrating on a child to take care of the child, whereas maid, general. So we want to take note of the difference. Then we'll have kinsmen. Kinsmen are male family relatives of a person. The male family relatives of a person. That's what we call kinsmen. So family relatives that are men, a person's family relatives that are men, we call them kinsmen. Then heir. Please take note, that word number 36 is not hair. The H is silent when you are pronouncing it. It is air, not hair. Air. H is silent, so you don't pronounce it as hair. It is air. It is heir and not hair. So take note. A person who has the legal right to receive the property of someone when he's dead. Yes, that's the heir. In this part of the world, you hear that when a father is dead, or maybe a mother is dead, or one's parents are dead, then the first child will inherit the property. So we say the first child is the heir to the parents' property. And so that's what we mean by heir. A person who has the legal right to receive the property of someone who is dead. Normally it doesn't have to do with custom. Like custom, we have it is the first child that will inherit the parents' property. No, when we say legal right, the person that is dead would have specified who is to inherit the property as at when the person was alive. And sometimes it may not even be any of the children. He could decide to will the property to an outsider. That outsider is the heir. But because we are dealing with family, we are narrowing it to family setting. So heir does not necessarily have to do with a family member. It can be a person outside the family. But in cultural undertone, it's usually a member of the family. But legally, it doesn't have to be a family member. It's the person's choice, as stated in the will, when the person was alive. And so we want to take note of that. Then we have the next one, landlord. A man who owns a house or an apartment, especially the one used by other persons on rent. Take note, especially the one used by another person on rent. But if we don't want to be strict, whether people are using the house on rent or not, especially in this part of the world, we say landlord and house owners. Yes. But in the strict sense, it's actually a man who owns a house, especially one that is used by another person on rent. So we want to take note of that. Then we also have landlady. In this part of the world, the wife of a landlord is automatically landlady, even when the husband has not died and the woman inherited the house. But like we are learning, see what we have here. A woman who owns a house or an apartment, especially the one used by other persons on rent. And so, in the street sense, the dictionary says as a woman that has her own house and people are using the house on rent. That's landlady. It's not necessarily the wife of a landlord. But in this part of the world, the wife of a landlord is landlady. So in exam, we want to be smart. A woman who owns a house or an apartment, especially one used by others on rent, is a landlady. And so we want to take note of that. So it's not necessarily the wife of a landlord. Take note of that point. But in this part of the world, because we know the wife definitely will inherit the house when the man is dead, even before the death of the man, the woman is answering landlady. But in exam, we want to know that landlady is a woman that owns a house, especially the one used by others on rent. Then we now come to tenants. A person who pays to live in another person's house, that's a tenant. And so a person that has not been able to build his house and is not paying a landlord to live in his house, the person is called a tenant. Then we now have the last one, foster. Foster is a word, an adjective that means not related by blood. Yes, if you have children you are taking care of and you are not the one that gave birth to the children, then the children are your foster children. Then if you are a child and you are living under the care of parents who are not your parents, biological parents, yes, then you are having foster parents. So foster parents, foster children, foster parents, parents that are not biological parents, foster children, children that are not biological children. That's what we're talking about. And so an adopted child automatically is a foster child. Yes, an adopted child is a foster child. So foster means non-biological, not related by blood. Then related by other means, usually adoption. And so we want to take note of that. So these are common terms associated with family relationships that have come up under the first symposium of the vocabulary topic, words associated with the family. And so we want to archive them so that when lexis passage are presented in examinations, for us to connect the words correctly, we'll be able to connect them to earn our grade and settle for success. And so that's the size of the lesson. On the evaluation stage now, you are recommended to log on to the CBT, where you have a review of the words being presented in the form of questions for you to connect, so that you see how much you've tapped from this lesson, and in the process it will help to sink the points down permanently in you, and you now utilize it in your future external examinations. I will sign off now and will see you in the next lesson series, where we'll be learning something new on a different subject platform.